guys, I'm so excited to get into our math lesson today. Today's lesson is going to be broken into two videos. The first video we're going to be talking about some different properties, and then in the second video we're just going to practice using those properties. So our objective for today is to use properties of operations in order to solve a problem. So let's start talking about some of those properties. When we are looking at properties of addition, there are three different ones we're going to talk about today. The first is commutative property, and that just means if the order of the addends change, the sum stays the same. So if we have the problem 12 plus 7, that's going to stay the same even if it's written as 7 plus 12. 12 plus 7 is going to give us the same answer as 7 plus 12. When we look at the associative property, that means if the grouping of the addends change, the sum is going to stay the same. So we see that we have 8 plus 15 grouped inside these parentheses. Well, if we change how those numbers are grouped, and we have 5 plus 8 inside the parentheses, and then we put 15 outside of the parentheses, we're still going to get the same answer, right? Because we're adding the same numbers. Our identity property means that the sum of any number and 0 is that number. So when we look and we have 13 plus 0, what's our answer? Just 13, right? Any number plus 0 is just that number. So if I have 14 plus 0, it's just going to equal 14. We'll scroll up and look at the properties of multiplication. So when we're talking about properties of multiplication, three of our properties are going to be the same, and then we'll talk about the distributive property. So we still have commutative property, and that just means if the order of the factors change, the sum's going to stay the same. Very similar to commutative property when we're talking about addition. So 4 times 9 is going to give us the same thing as 9 times 4. The associative property of multiplication says that if the grouping of factors change, the product stays the same. So just like in addition, we're just going to change what's inside those parentheses. So instead of having 3 times 6 times 11, we're just going to put 11 times 3 times 6. And we're going to get the same answer no matter what order we multiply those numbers in. The identity property of multiplication says that the product of any number and 1 is that number. So 4 times 1 is 4, 6 times 1 is 6, 9 times 1 is 9. Anytime you multiply a number by 1, you're going to get that number. Our last property that we're going to talk about today is the distributive property, and that says that multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each addend by the number and then multiplying the products. So one way that you could solve this problem is to say 7 plus 9. What's 7 plus 9? 16. And so I have 5 times 16. Well, I can do that another way as well. I can take my 5 and distribute it inside the parentheses. And so I can have 5 times 7 plus 5 times 9. And when I do that, that gives me 35 plus what? 45. And if we come over to the side and we say 35 plus 45, we get 80. And if we go back to what we had before, 5 times 16, we can try that over here. And we have 5 times 6, 30, drop our 0, carry our 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So that equals 80. So no matter how you do it, if you add the numbers and then multiply by 5, or if you distribute that 5 and do 5 times 7 plus 5 times 9, you're going to get the same answer. In this case, it was 80. All right, boys and girls, you're going to click on the next video below, and we're going to practice using some of these problems.